and welcome to the Techstrong AI podcast. I'm Amanda Razani, and with me today, I'm happy to have Steve DeAngelis. He is the founder and CEO of Enterra Solutions. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Amanda. How are you?
Doing well. Can you share a little bit about Enterra Solutions? What services do you provide?
Sure. Enterra Solutions is a artificial intelligence and applied mathematics company that uses artificial intelligence to perform end-to-end value chain optimization and d- decision making for mid-sized and large corporations.
Wonderful. Well, our topic of the day is AI as a job creator. So that's an interesting topic because, we hear a lot of people, they're afraid about incorporating AI because they're worried it's going to take over their jobs and they're going to be without jobs. Or recently, someone came out and talked about AI was going to reduce the wages of everyone. So, what are your thoughts on this, and why do you think that it is in fact going to be a job creator?
Well, look, with any transformative technology, some jobs are created and some jobs are lost. But like with the first wave of technology in the 1970s and 80s, certain classes of jobs went away, and many more classes of jobs were opened up. And I'm actually very, very encouraged by AI, and in particular, generative AI's ability to act as a net job creator, and quite frankly, act as a net middle class job creator. And let me tell you a little bit about why. I think that, as you think about large tech firms like OpenAI and NVIDIA and others, creating data centers that are going to power that are going to be used to create generative AI, large language models. Those data centers have to consume electricity. Those data centers have to build infrastructure to support that work. So if you think about OpenAI and Microsoft investing $120 billion in one data center in Texas, right? It's the amount of jobs that are created in that field that are both infrastructure creation, like we have to build a new power plant to have that power plant power the factory that's going to manufacture the chips to then power the data centers that are going to create the large language models, and all the jobs that are incumbent with that, whether it be the construction jobs or the raw materials used in the construction process, the real estate that gets purchased, the housing that gets purchased around the data centers and others. It creates a massive amount of infrastructure and construction and development related jobs that attend to the industry creating a whole new set of AI jobs, right? So whether they be, people at the top of a pyramid who are kind of like PhD scientists who conceive of how the chip should be manufactured or conceive of how the large language model should be designed and structured, to the software engineers, to the coders, to the people that generate prompts. There's a, sort of like, think about a pyramid of jobs that, you don't have to be a PhD scientist from a leading university to play in the generative AI space. So I think there's a whole class of jobs that can be built that can be replacing, quite frankly, middle class jobs that over the last several decades were offshored to other countries, right? So you used to be able to earn a middle class living by working at the U.S. steel plant. Those jobs largely went away in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s, right? And they haven't been replaced. This is a way of replacing really good wage jobs, right? Where you don't have to have the same level of education as the PhD mathematician would, but you can earn a great living by getting trained on AI, generative AI skills that would allow you to, put your kids through college, establish a great life for yourself. And, so I'm really bullish about AI being a net job creator.
So, what are some of the degree plans that you would recommend for people getting out of high school or younger adults looking to further their education? What would you recommend would be the best degree plans to look at?
Well, it depends. If you want to go to college, then there's a set of college related plans in computer science, college related plans in artificial intelligence, applied mathematics, right? And then there are likely vocational jobs that you can learn to be a prompt engineer. You can learn to build AI related applications on top of the foundational AI model. So, for example, there will be likely an entire class of job that are creating, anywhere from sort of micro applications to much bigger applications that are that are going to be developed to have people generate prompts, to have people utilize the generative AI tools that the large tech firms are going to create or have created. And those kinds of jobs you can learn vocationally. You don't need a college degree in computer science to be a prompt engineer, right? You can learn a skill and a craft to do that very well, and those jobs are in high demand right now. There isn't a trained army of people that can do those jobs. Say, so if I was a young person and I was not inclined to go to college, but I wanted to get involved in the high tech industry, right? I can go out and get a I could go get vocational training in learning how to use OpenAI or NVIDIA's platform or IBM Watson's platform. I could learn those tools, and I could perform work that the more skilled I get, I could keep rising up the food chain of jobs in the Gen AI space. Likewise, if I wasn't inclined to go to college and I wanted to become an electrician, that is a highly skilled job today that there are not enough electricians in the market to do all the electrical work necessary to fuel the AI community, right? So if you think about the increase in size and scope of our electrical grid that's going to be needed to be upgraded in order to handle all of this AI growth, there's going to be a ton of jobs that are going to be created both vocationally in the construction and related trades, in vocational training for generative AI and AI tools. And then as you go up the food chain in terms of jobs that would require computer science training or would require advanced AI training or applied mathematics training, right? Then those jobs could be consumed with people who are interested in pursuing college and graduate school degrees, right? So there's a wide range of jobs that are going to be created that can power this AI driven economy.
Those are such great points to bring up, and I think you may be one of the first ones to talk about it creating other jobs outside of just, like, near AI. The fact
Hmm.
that there are all those other components. So and I was just recently reading about, the data centers and the amount of electricity that's needed there, and
Hmm.
how, even my city is getting some new data centers coming here because the big cities can no longer support. They don't have enough electricity. So that is opening a lot of data centers around in different parts of the country and the world.
I mean, I think it's going to look. I think it will create a huge amount of jobs that are traditional manufacturing related, construction related, electrical, plumbing, all this sort of construction trade related jobs. It will create this new class of jobs for folks that can, like I said, earn a middle class living, have a cool cutting edge job. Like you could be part of the AI revolution, and you don't have to go to Princeton or MIT to figure it out, right? You can go and get a set of very, very practical skill training, and then you can evolve into that. A lot of the people that were at the early stages of the computer, the PC wave in the late 1970s and early 1980s also didn't have college degrees. They were a class of tinkerers and hobbyists, right? In electrical engineering, men and women who would, were technically inclined and who would play with circuit boards and do things, as a hobby. They evolved into an entire class of people that were the early computer science folks, right? And those were in addition to the people that were more classically trained at the university. But, like in any new industry, people who are willing to self-educate themselves and to be lifelong learners, right, can learn this skill. It's not very hard, right? You can learn it by focusing and taking classes online. I mean, one of the things that has happened since the first wave of the tech evolution is, previously in the 80s and 90s, you didn't have the internet. So you couldn't take courses online, Amanda. You couldn't get free training, online. Today, you can take courses at Harvard and MIT. You can take courses anywhere. Coursera offers courses that are relatively inexpensive. You can take these, this training, educate yourself, and go out and apply it at a time where there's a market gap for the skill that you have self-educated yourself on, right? So I think that, as we look to building up a set of middle class jobs for younger people, this will be the replacement, I believe, for a lot of the manufacturing jobs that have been offshored over the last several decades, right? So I think it's a really, great opportunity.
Absolutely. We're in an age where we can get so many opportunities for education at our fingertips. I consider myself a certification junkie of sorts. And
Hmm.
you mentioned Harvard. They have free classes. I
Right.
enrolled in one of their free classes a while back.
Mhm.
So it's amazing all the opportunities that are there. And also, it makes me wonder, so as these jobs shift and the companies replace certain
Mhm.
tasks with AI,
Mhm.
do you think that these companies should incorporate some sort of skill up programs where they cover the costs for their employees to skill up in areas that are needed so they can keep those employees and shift them to other departments or tasks?
Absolutely. We do that today at Enterra. We take people who are, we have people who have a certain skill and they want to evolve that skill into something else. We will invest in the employee to become trained in an adjacent skill area. Also, people are just curious if they want to do that. Companies will and should encourage people to upskill themselves, right? And I think companies themselves will create internal certification programs, right? So let's say, for example, you are a database engineer and you're really interested in Gen AI, right? You rather than lose a known good performer, because that person wants to do something else, it is invariably less expensive to retrain that person into a job that they are super interested in, right? Because they will then think, wow, the company invested in me to get this new skill. I'm working on stuff that I'm aspirational to work on. I get the skill that I'm excited about it. I'm going to do a great job because I'm all psyched up about what I'm working on, right? And so I think it's a win-win, but I also think it's a way for companies to build a huge amount of loyalty with their employee base.
Wonderful. Well, if there was one key takeaway you could leave our audience with today, what would that be?
I really think that people should not be afraid of AI. I mean, look, there could be very potentially difficult things with AI when artificial general intelligence starts to take off, and we don't know exactly how that's going to work. No, people don't know all the rules of the road. We don't know how to potentially regulate it effectively, right? But AI, like any other fundamental technological evolution, right, has the potential, and it will, in my opinion, fundamentally change the way that everything is done. Like it'll change the way corporations operate. It'll change the way that governmental agencies operate. And my net takeaway is don't be afraid of it. It will be a net job creator. Don't worry about it eliminating all these jobs and we're going to have, robots doing all the work and it's going to be a net job creator and potentially a huge boom for the economy.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your insights with us today.
Thank you.
And thanks to our audience. Stay tuned. There's more.